22 Brattle Street in Boston, he appeared in over 300 cases, approximately a third before the Massachusetts Superior Court. He had also become associated by then with escalating protests against British authority, beginning with his public condemnation of the Stamp Act. Just a month prior to Panton's death, he had launched a newspaper column critical of British policies, including recent prosecutions in Boston for smuggling. Besides affording an opportunity to further his political career, Rex versus Corbett magnified Adams' gravest fears. Taxation without representation, greedy customs commissioners, trials bereft of juries, armed soldiers on Boston streets, and now, by all accounts, a shocking attempt to deprive free men of their liberty, inescapable evidence, in Adams' view, of a conspiracy in the highest echelons of the British government to snuff out American rights. Predictably, the deadly fray became the talk of Boston. At first, the Patriot leader James Otis, famed for his political oratory and legal acumen, agreed to serve as co-counsel, but Otis's mental instability, reputedly compounded by bouts with the bottle, undercut his usefulness. With nowhere else to turn, Adams scoured his personal library, arguably the finest in Boston, for legal references and precedents pertaining to homicide and to the deeply unpopular practice of impressment long employed by the Royal Navy to replenish its ranks with merchant seamen. Law, history, theology, and political philosophy all figured in his research, occasioning nights spent poring over tomes both familiar and obscure. Neither before nor afterward in his legal career did Adams devote so many hours with near-bottomless energy to a single case. "I vainly thought as if I could shake the town and the world," he later confessed. Perhaps. On Wednesday, June 14th, inside a packed chamber on the second floor of the Boston courthouse, no trial had ever interested the community so much. Adams entered 4 pleas of justifiable homicide before a special court of admiralty. Due to the denial of his motion for a jury trial, a panel of 15 high-ranking Crown officials heard the case the following morning, including the governors of Massachusetts and New Hampshire and the Chief Justice of Massachusetts, Thomas Hutchinson, fated to become the most hated man in America during his impending tenure as the colony's royal governor. For the better part of 3 days, a stream of witnesses paraded before the court to recount the morning of Panton's death, among them 7 crew members of the Rose. Although by law criminal defendants were forbidden to testify, the crew's unvarying testimony to a man, combined with that of the master and 2 seamen from the pit, buttressed the defense's case. By any reckoning, the overriding purpose of the boarding party had been to impress able seamen, preferably any who hailed from England, Ireland, or Scotland. The prosecution's contention to the contrary, inspecting the brig for contraband, had been an afterthought, and the lieutenant's death the tragic consequences of a standoff in which the accused again and again affirmed their determination not to be pressed. The court also learned that the first pistol fired below decks had been unloaded, save for black powder. The Marine, by hoping to cow Corbett into surrendering, had committed a fatal error. "Fire if you dare. I will not go back. I will kill the first of you." On Saturday morning, steeped in law and legal precedent, Adams stood before the hushed gathering to deliver his argument. To judge from his notes, he fully intended to claim self-defense. Shot point-blank in the face, Corbett had been forced to defend his person. What's more, Panton had committed an illegal act in boarding the pit for the purpose of pressing crew members. A little-known Act of Parliament passed in 1707 during the reign of Queen Anne expressly prohibited the impressment of seamen in North America, no matter their native origins, save for deserters. Adams's opportunity never arrived. Scarcely had he uttered a sentence before the Chief Justice arose from his chair to move that the judges adjourn to the council chamber. There, sequestered from the public, the panel deliberated for the remainder of the day and early evening, to the apprehension of much of Boston, not least Adams himself. Notwithstanding the week's testimony, he, like others, feared a conviction when the court reconvened, followed by the death sentence for all 4 defendants. Never was a more gloomy assembly of countenances painted with terror and horror than appeared in the audience next morning, he recalled. All the more astounding, then, once the prisoners had been summoned to the bar, that the president of the court, Governor Francis Bernard of Massachusetts, pronounced a unanimous verdict of justifiable homicide in necessary self-defense. And there, with no further explanation, the case